Welcome. This is Yoga for Cancer. I'm Rebecca, and I welcome you on this bright and sunny and warm day here in Atlanta. I'm not sure why I feel inclined to give the weather report each time, but I think it's just the nature of the beast as I have these beautiful windows in my studio room, and so I have a firsthand connection to what's happening outside. I hope you are all well. So, this is something from Rabbi Jill Hammer. She says that the nature of human beings is to make mistakes, miss the mark, and stray from our intentions. But there is a way to come back. Again and again, we return. We are called back to center. Every day and each moment contains the possibility of returning. In meditation, we practice by returning over and over to our breath or point of focus. The most important thing is to return. So, how do you find center? How do you fill up your well so that you're able to move out into your community or just get through the day, be with your family? What do you do to fill up? Let's take a moment to find a comfortable position for our opening meditation. That can be sitting up on a cushion or a chair or lying on your back, whatever allows you to be really relaxed. Take a moment to feel your connection to the earth beneath you. Noticing those points of connection, maybe your feet, your bottom, your back, the back of your head, whatever is touching the ground. Yesterday when I taught a class outside, we were quite connected to the earth, feeling the grass beneath us, all the sounds of nature around us, and the sounds of the city. So notice what's in your space today. Are there textures you can see or feel? If your eyes are still open, you can take a soft gaze or let them close gently. Noticing the different feeling of textures around you, maybe beneath you. I have a hardwood floor, yoga mat, a cushion. What do you feel beneath you? And then begin to notice the sounds in your environment beyond the sound of my voice. Can you discern which sounds are close by and which are further away? Begin to bring your attention more deeply inward to the sensation of your body, the sensations. Noticing the feeling of breathing. Is there one place where you are particularly aware of your breath? Maybe at the tip of your nose, your upper lip, maybe the back of your throat. Can you stay with that sensation through several breaths? As you get distracted, as we do, just notice and come back, return. You don't have to change your breath. Just notice. With each inhale, begin to sit up or lengthen, reaching from tailbone to crown. With each exhale, become more deeply connected to the earth, grounding. Inhale, reaching, maybe for the sky. Exhale, grounding, settling, releasing and letting go. Breathing between earth and sky. Now begin to bring the sensation of breath right to heart center. The heart chakra in the center of the chest, this energy center, seat of our emotions and our connections with each other. As you inhale, imagine the heart as a blossom, opening, spreading. As you exhale, draw that back in, coming back into the cave of the heart. Inhale, opening, expanding, and growing. Exhale, drawing back in, nurturing yourself. Stay with this heart-centered breath for several repetitions. Take a moment to offer yourself some gratitude for showing up for your practice today. Even just clicking on Zoom can be a challenge, and so give yourself some gratitude. This is one way that we fill up, that we get grounded, that we return to center. Let's continue together with our seated sun breaths. Inhale, float your arms up or out, palms up. Exhale, turn palms down and let the arms float down, beginning to connect movement and breath. Go just to where it feels comfortable in your body to raise your arms, maybe way overhead, maybe not. Let it take the whole inhale for arms to float to wherever they're going, and the whole exhale to float back down. A couple more, inhaling up, and full exhale down. Let's inhale up together, pause, reaching, and then lower the right hand, coming up and over with the left. Maybe it would feel good to bend your elbow and bring your hand behind your neck or back of your head. Staying for a couple of breaths to open up the side body. And then use an inhale to come up and over to the other side. As you side bend, feel the breath help you stretch in the rib cage and the waist, and then use an inhale to come up and over. Now take a few just with your own breath speed, staying for one or more breaths, using that inhale to come up and over. We use these beginning sequences as a way of tuning in. How am I showing up today? What's happening? Maybe you haven't moved yet today, or maybe you've been quite active. This is just a moment to tune in. And this or the next time that you come through center, lower hands down, sitting up nice and tall. Inhale and reach. Bring your left hand to your right knee, your right hand behind you. Next inhale, sit tall, reaching through the crown, and exhale, twist, looking towards or over your shoulder. Inhaling up through center, exhale to the other side. Inhale, make space. The exhale helps us twist a little further. Take One or two more to each side with your own breath speed. And then we'll meet back in the middle. If you're sitting up on something, maybe scooch it out of the way and bring your hands behind you for a little bit of more support. Walk your feet out in front of you wide, here on my toes so you can see them. And then begin to drop your knees from side to side. You can start by just shifting from side to side. And maybe you stay right there. Or maybe you allow your knees to drop all the way. One knee coming inside the other foot. See what works for you, beginning to warm up our hips. You can stay like this or release your arm and come around into a twist. Maybe that would feel good. Or next time that your knees are dropping, plant your hand and then lift up, opening up into a different kind of side bend. And then when you are complete, come back to center. Keep your hands behind you for a moment. So when we're in this position, we're balancing kind of on the tailbone. If it's painful, sit on something soft. You can always put a cushion or folded blanket beneath you. Have your feet and knees about hip distance apart. And right here, the work is to sit tall, lengthening through your spine. Do you feel the engagement of your abdominal muscles to keep you in this position? You can stay right here or maybe lift one foot. Notice where you feel that. Put that one down if you'd like and try the other. Excuse me. And do one at a time again or maybe lift both. Keep reaching long from the crown. I've got a little shaking going today. Maybe you do too. And then bring your feet down, extend them out in front of you, and little windshield wiper action, maybe some tiny, tiny bounces, just to get ourselves started. Go ahead and make your way to hands and knees, tabletop. If that position is not in your practice, then you can sit up tall or come onto your back. We're not going to stay for too long. Make sure you have something underneath your knees if you are choosing to come into table pose. And you can have your hands spread wide underneath your shoulders or make fists with thumbs pointing forward. You can also come down onto forearms. Knees underneath hips. Let's just begin by wiggle waggling just a little bit. That is the technical term. And then come back to center and lengthen. Lengthening crown and tailbone in opposite directions. Let's move from here into our cat-cow. Inhaling, lift your tailbone, soften your belly, and reach through the crown of your head. Exhale, tuck the tail, belly comes in and up, release your head. If you're lying on your back, you can be doing some pelvic tilts by flattening your low back and then releasing that press. If you're in cat-cow, inhale, opening the front body. Exhale, press the floor away and open between your shoulder blades. One or two more wherever you're working. And then make your way to neutral pelvis. Let's extend the right leg behind, toes curled under. If you're lying on your back, just extend your leg along the floor. Pressing back to get a stretch or flexing through your foot. Stay here or lift the leg just to hip height. Engage through those abdominals that we woke up moments ago. Maybe adding the reach of an opposite arm. Reach long, pressing out, and then come back to center. Wiggle waggle. If you need to come off of your hands or wrists, come down onto your forearms, and maybe some curls with your fingers. And then back to neutral pelvis. Let's extend the left leg. If you're lying on your back, just extend it long on the floor, and you can keep it down on the floor. If you're in tabletop, try to lift the leg up if you'd like, and then add the opposite arm. Reaching long, get really long on that diagonal, and then release and come back to center. We're going to get off of our hands and knees and make our way up to standing. You can follow along or find your own path. I'm going to use my blocks and step 1 foot forward in between. Curling back toes under, I'll come up through a lunge and then step my back foot forward, hands to knees, and I can walk all the way up. Move my props out of the way and come to find mountain pose. Standing up nice and tall, feet about hip distance apart. Bring your hands to the top of your hips and rock a little bit forward and back. You're shifting your weight between the balls of your feet and your heels. And then come to what feels like center. And lift your toes if you can. Spread them wide apart, yogi toes, and then slowly put them down. Feeling that very wide base of support. Let's do that one more time. Lifting toes, spread them wide. Notice where your balance is here between the balls of the feet and the heels. And then slowly bring your toes down. But try to keep that feeling of being equally balanced on your feet. Maybe you shift your hips from side to side. And then come to center. Release your arms down. Last week we worked with a block between our shins. So you can do that if you'd like, or try to imagine remembering what that sensation was like and draw your shins towards each other isometrically. So no, not sliding, but engaging those muscles in towards center, lifting up through the pelvic floor, the low belly, reaching through heart center. Let's inhale and draw hands up. Maybe palms meet, and exhale, bring hands to heart center. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhaling and reaching up. Exhale, draw back to center. Once more. And pause here. We're going to move into a balance sequence. So if you need some additional support, feel free to turn. Maybe you have a wall or some sturdy furniture that's not going to shift. You could have one hand there and one at the heart, or both hands at your heart. Keep that active mountain pose, Tadasana. Keep that engagement, the lifting, the drawing in towards center, reaching through the crown. Take a moment to look at your horizon line and find one point that isn't moving. Eyes fixed on your drishti, your focal point. Feel your feet grounded as if you have sent roots deep into the earth. We'll shift to the left leg and make it a minor shift, right? Not a big shift. Almost as if you're right up and over your leg. And then release the right leg and turn out. Maybe you bring your toes down and your ankle, your heel to your ankle, or you go below or above the knee. Just don't press into the knee. And see, what is balance like for you today? Feel free to come in and out. Feel all those little micro adjustments that the body makes in order to balance. Can you get nice and steady and still in the lower body? And then maybe you can grow branches, lifting the heart, finding that buoyancy and even some flexibility in the upper body, stillness, grounding in the lower body. One more big breath, and then 2 feet down, hands to heart center, maybe walk in place. And come to stillness. Find that Tadasana first, mountain pose. Then we can grow our tree. Pressing down through the right foot, the left is released. Find your foot position here. Maybe toes are down or above or below the knee. Feel the contact of foot to leg. Leg resists the pressure. Keep lifting up, like through the pelvic floor, the low abdomen, through the heart. And eyes on your focal point, maybe you can spread the canopy of your tree. Sometimes this makes it harder to balance, and sometimes it makes it easier. So feel that movement and the steadiness. One more big breath. Whoops, I fell out. And come back to center. Walk it out. Release your arms down and shake them out. Step out a little wider and let's just do a gentle Tai Chi Twist, letting your arms float out and around you. Letting go. And allow that movement to slow and stop. We'll do one more balance sequence, our flying crane. So come to hands to heart center, maybe one hand on your support. Make sure you have some space. Eyes on your drishti, focal point. Let's inhale and find our crane wings. One foot comes up, bending at the knee. Pause, feel this, get the muscle memory. Then that foot comes down and we come back to heart center. Inhale, find your wings, lift the other foot. Feel that muscle memory and come back to center. And now we'll fly. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. You've got it. Next, inhale, pause and hold, suspended animation. And release, and other side, hold, hold, and release. Let it go. And walk in place. I'd like to work a little bit with our goddess sequence today. I was talking about this with my husband last night, and I said, sometimes I'll say something like, we can all be goddesses today. And he said, why wouldn't we all honor goddesses in our yoga practice? My work is done. Take a wide stance and then turn your toes out, really from the hips, right? So the whole leg turns out, knee and toes pointing in about a 45-degree angle. Inhale your arms to shoulder height and open from that beautiful central point. As you breathe in to heart center, can you send that energy out, becoming the brightest, biggest star in the sky? One more inhale, and then exhale, bend knees and elbows and sink down into your power center. Really feel that energy center. Inhale, hands come to heart center. Exhale, drop a little more if you'd like, and then press it away. Inhale, opening, 5-pointed star. Big inhale here. Exhale into goddess. This time, maybe you lift one heel and put it down. Maybe you lift the other heel and put it down. Maybe both heels can float up and you can sit down a little more. Heels down, hands to heart center, and press it away. One more goddess. Drop in. This time, let's bring our arms down, fingers touch, and then inhale and lift the moon goddess. Stay here, maybe lower back down as you drop. Inhale and stretch and release carefully. Walk your feet back in to center and walk in place a little bit, shaking out. I feel like doing one more standing sequence. I hope you're feeling good. So get yourself into a situation where you have a little support. I'm walking over here to get my yoga chair because I think I'll use that. But you can use a wall or, dresser, piece of furniture, whatever you have. So actually, let me turn this way. Okay, that works better. Okay, so finding your mountain pose. Get nice and tall. One hand on your support. Make sure it's not going to tip, that you know it's not going to slide or tip. And then take the leg that's on the outside away from your support and bring it behind you come onto your toe. Inhale and reach the same side arm, getting nice and long. So that's the first position that we start with. Then maybe you can reach down and touch your heel. That's 2. Maybe you can grasp your ankle or foot. That's 3. So find one of those 3 positions coming into dancer pose. If you've got hold of your foot or ankle, press into your hand, resisting that press, opening up, and gently release and walk in place. Okay, other side. Starting with first, moving the blocks, toes back, same side arm lifts. Maybe you stay right here. I think I will today. Or you can touch your heel, or, let's see if I can get it, grasp your foot on this side. Pressing, if you have your foot, press your foot into your hand, opening that shoulder, opening the front of the hip. If you're touching or staying right here, keep reaching long. One more breath and release and walk in place. We'll do one more counter pose. So have either a chair, your blocks, or like the seat of a chair or couch. And then take a nice wide stance. Your feet stay parallel this time. We're going to come into a forward fold, hinging at the hips. So we'll inhale and lengthen. Exhale, begin to come forward, hinging, right? So not at the waist. We keep our spine long and we're bending right here at the hips. Let your knees bend if you need to, if it's too much on your hamstrings. And then bring your hands or your forearms to your support. Keep lengthening the spine. And maybe you can stretch through your legs, maybe not. Maybe you keep them nice and bent. Maybe you can shift from side to side, bending one knee more deeply and then the other. Or stay at center. One more breath. And then to come out, we'll bend our knees, hands to knees, and walk all the way back up. Walk the feet in and shake them out. Let's make our way back down to a seat. Take a sip. Maybe you'd like a sip too. Coming down into bound angle pose. So soles of feet together, knees apart. Little tea is good. All right, so bring your hands to your ankles, shins, or knees and begin to rock a little bit from side to side. Now see the difference between my hips stay down and I'm shifting versus rocking, where I'm literally coming onto one hip and then the other. Maybe that doesn't work for you, but if it does, give it a try. I had one teacher who would get us up here and then make us do all kinds of things. I'm not going to do that to you. Okay, and find your way back to center, sitting up nice and tall. Use your hands against your legs, if that works for you, to help you lengthen through the crown of the head. Getting nice and tall. On your exhales, see if your knees can drop down just a little bit more. If you're feeling a lot of pressure, then grab blocks or cushions and you can bring them underneath your knees. Inhale to sit up nice and tall. Exhale, soften in the hip sockets. Let the knees drop. Inhale, sit up tall. And exhale, release. 3 more breaths. And after your third exhale, remove your blocks if you've put them there. Use your hands under your knees to help walk your feet out wide. And if you notice, I should have said this earlier, that you're beginning to roll back onto your tailbone and slump forward, that's a good indicator that you need to sit up taller. So get something. It can be a folded blanket. I have these bits of mat that I use for this purpose. I might roll it up and make it into a cushion and either sit on the edge or just tuck the edge underneath and back just for that little bit of extra support. Now, knees and toes pointing towards the ceiling if possible. Don't come to a position that's at your edge. If it's a lot, walk your feet in a little more. If you have more space, go ahead and take it. If your blocks are handy, go ahead and bring them in front. And we'll inhale and get really long. We're going to hinge forward. Now, you may already be at your edge, but maybe you have some extra space. So coming forward from the hips, not the waist. Long spine. Find your edge and then bring your hands down either to the floor or to blocks if you have them. We'll work from right here. If this is all a lot, bring your fingertips to the floor behind you for a little extra support. Inhale, extend through the spine, reach through the crown of the head, get nice and long. Exhale, soften. Maybe you have a little more space. Lengthening on the inhales and softening on the exhales. 2 more breaths. And press into your hands to sit up nice and tall. Move your blocks if you're using them. Let's bend one knee, bringing the sole of that foot to the inner thigh. We'll inhale both arms up. Drop, I have my left knee bent. I'm going to drop my left hand behind and side bend away from my extended leg. So I'm lengthening that side body. Inhale, come up through center and bring, I have my right hand to the inside of the extended leg. We'll take the other arm and come up and over. Now, some people can side bend and reach their toes, and then open their chest. I cannot. I've been doing this for many, many, many years, and I can't do that. So I'm going to bend my elbow and place my hand behind my head or neck, and just work here to open as I'm side bending. And then we'll move side to side. Inhale up, exhale away, inhale up and exhale towards. And just a few more, moving side to side on this diagonal. And the next time that you come through center, go ahead and change legs. We'll inhale up. This time I'm dropping the right hand. I'm leaning away with the left. I'm going to hold here for a few breaths, lengthening. And then on an inhale, come up through center. Left hand to the inside of the left knee. I'll come up and over, maybe taking that hand behind the head and opening up through the shoulder and chest. And then we'll move side to side. Inhale through center. Exhale, lengthen. Inhale through center and exhale, side bend. A few more times. And this or the next time that you come through center, hands behind, walk your legs out and take little bounces, maybe let go in the hips. And we'll make our way all the way down on to our backs. If you have a block, you can have it handy. We may use it. So coming down on to your back. And now, if possible, don't have anything underneath your head. So we don't want to have any neck injuries. So knees bent, feet and knees about hip distance apart. Bring your hands down at your sides. And we'll go back to that pelvic tilt, like the lying down cat-cow. Inhale in place. Exhale, press your low back down, flattening out that lumbar curve. Inhale, release the press and come back to neutral. Exhale, press and flatten out. Inhale, come back to neutral. So what we're doing here is tipping the pelvis, right? We're kind of lifting the tailbone, dropping the top, the sacrum, the top of the sacrum down. And then the opposite, coming back to neutral. Okay, just a couple more like this. Now you can stay with that movement if that's your comfort zone, but we're going to try a pelvic clock. So we're going to roll around the outside of the pelvis as if it were an analog clock. Rolling around the outside. And then if our pelvic tilt was moving between 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock, come to center and then see if you can move between 9 and 3. So pressing one side and then the other. And then as you move around your circle, if you come to a place that feels a little sticky, then go to the direct opposite place on the clock for a moment and then come back. I hope this is making sense. And then continue around the circle. If you come to a sticky spot, go to the opposite place and then back and continue around the circle. Okay. And the next time that you come to 6 o'clock, bring yourself to neutral, and we're going to reverse the direction of our circling. So if you can remember which way you were going, go the other way. And if you can't remember, then go the way that feels more awkward. So we're just rolling around as if the pelvis were a clock, a round clock lying down, and we're rolling around the outside of it. Yes, and as you come to a spot that feels a little sticky, go to the opposite number on the clock. And then come back and continue on your circle. Just a couple more passes, taking time to notice those sticky places and see if you can roll through them. And then make your way back to center, neutral pelvis, and let's draw the knees in, one at a time or both. Maybe rock a little from side to side to release the low back. Bring your one foot down and then the other. If you have your block handy, great. If you have a small cushion, you could use that as well. We're going to come into a supported bridge. So hands at your sides. Press into your feet and lift your hips an inch or more off the mat. If you can see that. And then exhale and come down. Again, nothing underneath the head for this. Inhale, press into the feet, lift the hips, maybe a little higher this time, and exhale down. We'll do that 3 more times. And this time we're going to lift up and take your block or your folded blanket or cushion and see if you can slide it underneath your sacrum. So it's not going under the low back, the part that was pressing down before. It's going underneath the bony pelvis. So if it feels uncomfortable, if it hurts at all, go ahead and slide it back out. And don't do what I'm doing and turn your head. Keep your head in one direction. So once you have your cushion underneath, your cushion, your block, your folded blanket underneath your pelvis, underneath the bony sacrum, then see if you can let go a little bit. This should feel good. If it's uncomfortable, please come out and just rest on your back. You could draw your knees in. If you are in supported bridge, you could try sliding one leg long, sliding it back, sliding the other leg. I don't recommend both legs at the same time. And back. You could try bringing one knee up or both. You could lift your legs up to the ceiling. So take, I don't know, about 5 or 6 breaths, either exploring supported bridge or just resting. Seeing if you can let go a little bit more with each exhale. And again, if you have any pain, come right out. Bring your hips down. And the next time that you're inhaling, press into your feet. Lift your hips a little higher so you can slide that block or cushion out of the way, and then slowly come down. Pause here for a breath or two. Maybe walk your feet out wide towards the edges of your mat and let them drop from side to side. Gentle twist. And then, if you're with your feet wide, see if you can bring your knees together. For some people, this is a really comfortable, constructive rest pose. For others, it feels better to do the opposite, bringing soles of feet together and letting your knees drop out wide. Another breath or two, whichever you've chosen. And then we'll carefully walk the feet back up, and we're going to work on a twist. So there are different options. You can stay with feet wide and just drop your knees to one side, or you can do what's called an eagle leg twist. This may be too much, but you'll try it if you'd like. I'm crossing my right leg over my left. And then I'm going to push into my left foot, shift my hips to the right, and then let my knees begin to drop down. I'm going to bring my arms up into goddess, or you can extend out like a T. And then maybe you turn your head in the opposite direction of your knees. This feels like a lot. Carefully, gently come back out and go back to the wide-legged twist, dropping knees from side to side. If this feels good and you can stay and breathe, excellent. But whenever you're ready to come out, you'll inhale and draw your knees up through center, shift back, and carefully switch sides. Taking that little extra jog to one side. Turning your head in the opposite direction of your knees, if you like. And gently breathing into a comfortable stretch. If it's uncomfortable, I don't know how many times I can say this, please come out. And that is true throughout class. And when you're ready to come out, draw your knees up to center, hips to center, and hug your knees in. Maybe rocking a little bit from side to side, softening. And release your feet back down and take a moment to come into a comfortable position for Shavasana, our resting pose. So maybe that involves pillows under your knees, a pillow under your head, a blanket. Maybe you'd like to lie on your side instead. Take your time to find a comfortable Shavasana. And once you arrive, allow your spine to be long, letting go with each exhale, softening and dropping down into the supports beneath you. As you inhale, open, expand in to the universe around you. Get bigger. As you exhale, draw back in to center. Inhale and expand. We go out into the world. Exhale, come back, return to center. Stay with this expanding and contracting breath for several repetitions until you're ready to rest in Shavasana. If you don't know the answer to the question, the answer is always compassion. It is the answer to any question. We want to live with hearts able to resonate with the human experience so that we will meet the world as friends, that we will live in such a way that our mind will be a good neighborhood. Begin to deepen your breath, bringing small movements into fingers and toes. When you feel ready, roll to one side and pause. And then press into your hands and carefully make your way, excuse me, back up to sitting, allowing your attention to stay deeply inward for another moment or two. We'll seal our practice with one chant of Om for the community that we create when we practice together. If you'd like to join, bringing hands to heart center, we'll inhale together. Om Shanti, peace, peace, peace. Namaste. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me and with each other.